What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the final episode of Go Talk with Marcus, powered by PodDecks, fueled by Gopher for the 2022 year. It's been a great year, by the way. Just before we kind of get into everything, once again, joining the show is Martin Soaries of the Basketball Society. It's always a pleasure to have Martin on the show. It's been a long year. It's been a fun year. It's been a very productive year. Appreciate all the love and the support and the positivity, not just from viewers, but from guests that have come on the show and all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. And hopefully this is not hopefully. I know this will be. This is going to be a very nice send-off into 2023. But what's up, man? How you doing, dude?
Man, I'm great. And it's great to be here, as always. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the last show of the year. So I was just kind of scrolling through the people that I enjoy having on the show. And so you were at the top of the list because I kind of had all the other people on the show in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, man, Christmas is coming up. Kind of makes sense. You got the Christmas Day games for basketball, which is always like a very important day of the year on the basketball calendar. So I figured I'd call on the basketball guru just one more time, 2022, to kind of get some things going. I know we kind of talked about this before the show, but just want to give acknowledgement officially on the show. Congratulations on signing Jaden as your first NIL athlete for Basketball Society. I thought that was really dope and really cool.
Thank you.
It's always I like giving you your flowers. I mean, you know this. I try to give you your flowers as much as possible. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool just to kind of see that. I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a thing that you could like dabble in. So to kind of see that, I thought it was like pretty cool. You're always coming up with new ways to like amaze me. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You know, Jaden is my cousin. Did you know that?
I did not know that Jaden was your cousin.
He is my little cousin. He's my third cousin.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that plays basketball, but no one believes that he's my cousin. It's okay. Maybe.
Oh yeah. My cousin will bust his ass though.
Maybe my. I don't know. He's a pretty big deal. Maybe my dad can verify in the comments that this person is my cousin. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's Kevin Durant. I don't know. But
well, all right. Bringing those out. Talk about 3-4 times removed or something wild like that.
It is. He's like my half cousin, twice removed, something. Mm-hmm. I go to work and I tell the kids that watch basketball from time to time, like, Durant's my cousin, and they get all struck. Have you met him? No, I haven't, unfortunately. But maybe one day.
I think I heard you say that before. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a very random fact that I drop from time to time.
I may have heard you say it on the show before, but watching you on another episode or something.
I bring it up maybe once or twice a year, just I like people to know that I have a very strong lineage. I drop it every now and then, just like this guy over here, one of the greatest, But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and we're gonna do. This is going to be a much more fun episode, probably the much looser, one of the more looser episodes I've ever done on the show. So we're gonna do a couple of different things. We're gonna start though by talking about and kind of previewing some Christmas Day games, obviously, because that's the big reason why we're here, right? You've got 5 games on slate: Sixers, Knicks at 12, Lakers, Mavericks at 2:30, Bucks, Celtics at 5, Grizzlies, Warriors at 8, and then Suns and Nuggets at 10:30. Instead of previewing the games, though, I want to get your opinion on some of these teams, right? Because I think all 10 of these teams are in very different places right now as we head into what a lot of people kind of look at it and say is like the unofficial true start to the season. Like this is kind of where you can tell who's who and where's where and kind of how you're going to project into the playoffs and into the finals and things like that. The Knicks so far, I believe at this point, they're up to 8 in a row. And they've been really hot, been looking really well. Do you think this is a Knicks basketball team this season that can get back to the playoffs? Obviously, we were in the playoffs 2 years ago, missed the playoffs last year. Do you think this is a team that can make it back to the playoffs this year, maybe make some noise in the East potentially?
I feel like they can make the playoffs. I don't know how much noise they'll actually make. Things are a little funky this year, but I still feel like in the East, you're looking at Milwaukee and Boston as better than everybody else. But then you've got Cleveland in the mix. You have you have teams that other teams in the East that can play, and the Knicks are kind of working. They're in that kind of second tier now. And I felt like Jalen Brunson was going to be a difference maker, and I think that's what we're seeing too with them. But but they have other players too that are doing well. So definitely think they can make the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, it's all about matchups, man. It's all about matchups when you get there. So I don't see them doing anything too crazy, but they can get to the playoffs for sure.
I will admit I didn't think the Knicks would be this good so far this season. I remember you were on the show when we kind of talked about Jalen Brunson making it to the Knicks, and I said that's much ado about nothing. And I went on the Knicks pretty hard, and you laughed at me. And when I say nothing, much ado about nothing, not because Jalen Brunson is a bad player, but because like this is what the Knicks do. They kind of go out there, they kind of get a guy that they want to be the fit, like they want to kind of center everything around, and then he has a good season, and then the cycle continues. So that's kind of what I was leaning on. Having to eat a little bit of crow with how good the Knicks have been so far this season. So I'll bite that. On the other side, they have the Sixers, and you and I have had this conversation a lot on the show, off the show, Instagram DMs about the level of play that we need to see from James Harden in order for the 76ers to be competitive and to potentially get back to competing for a championship. Do you think we've seen so far this season that level of elite play that you and I have been talking about a lot as it pertains to James Harden and the Sixers being one of the cream of the crop, creme de la creme in the Eastern Conference this year?
I think they had some early games where the two of them were clicking and healthy and stuff. I know James has missed some time.
Yeah.
But I think they had some early games in the season, a couple that where they were looking pretty strong overall. But I think it's interesting that Embiid's best games, his dominant stretch that he went on was when Harden was out. And it's just crazy how it's not crazy. It's just the reality of how the Sixers are better with Embiid leading them than with Harden leading them. Embiid does so much, including scoring, and he's so dominant right now, and he dominates in a different way. Like James can still dominate in his way, but it's not as consistent. It's not as dominant as it used to be, obviously. But it's just interesting that they look like almost a better team so far. I don't think we've seen the best of them yet at all. And it really does come down to both of them being at like such a high level. And I don't think we've seen that from them yet.
The Sixers are such an interesting basketball team because they have a good roster. You know, you've got Embiid, you have Maxey, you have Harden, obviously. Like they have good pieces, and this is a good basketball team. This isn't just a basketball team that you look at kind of like, you know, you look at a team like the Knicks or the Cavs or maybe even the Hawks and say like this team could potentially make it. Like this is a team I think that on paper and especially given what we've seen the past couple of seasons is a team that at this point we would expect to be cream of the crop of the Eastern Conference and kind of being like in that conversation to make it out of the East. I think this season it's been so, like you said, it's been like we've seen three different Sixers teams really, and they all had three distinct identities. We've seen the Sixers without Embiid and with Harden. We've seen the Sixers without Harden and with Embiid, and then we've seen the Sixers obviously with both. And so far, it seems as if the best version of this Sixers team is the team that has Embiid and no Harden, which is kind of interesting, especially because you mentioned like Embiid goes on that crazy stretch where he's dropping 50 points like what seemed like every other night, and he's got like 30 and 15, and he had like 45 and 17, and he had that one game where he went like 37, 10, 8 and 8 or something. Like he was playing really, really dominant big man basketball, and then you have the games when there's Harden and no Embiid, and they're doing okay, but it doesn't feel like Sixers basketball. And then you have the games when they're Harden and Embiid's on the floor, and again, they're doing okay, but it didn't really feel like Sixers It's going to be interesting to see as the season lands on, and of course, as the playoffs get closer, because this is the team that's going to make the playoffs. Just if they're going to be able to get it together when both of them are on the floor and be this team that we expect them to be and potentially be again in that conversation of making it out of the East, right up there with Milwaukee and Boston, who are really the only two clear-cut teams that we all acknowledge are one of those two are going to make it out of the East. But I feel like the Sixers should have enough, and they have the talent, not just in Embiid and Harden, but around them, coaching aside, but even with coaching, where they should be a team that is in that conversation to make it out of the East, not just as a maybe or like if the pieces fall right, but like this is a legitimate team that no matter who they play up against in a 7-game series, I could say with some sort of confidence, I wouldn't be surprised they make it out of the East. I don't think we've seen that from them just yet, and I'm just wondering
No.
if it's going to
The best sign that the best sign that they might be able to do that is the fact that Embiid looks just way more. He looks as dominant as ever. I mean, but that's a wear and tear on him. He's injury prone. You don't want to put that kind of physical pressure on him, and that's why James Harden is supposed to be there to alleviate that. So if they find that rhythm and that mojo, especially in the playoffs, that's where when the game slows down, that might favor them, because Harden and Embiid are like slower players. They're not like more up and down, quick, athletic. They're more like strong, half court, face you up, score on you one-on-one. So if they're both in top form in the playoffs, that's where Philly could be dangerous and make a run. But it's like you're going against Giannis and Tatum and Marcus Smart and those teams that are just so built and so prepared across the board, and they're deep. They have shooters, they have defenders, so it is going to take a big time effort from Harden and Embiid to be on the same level as Milwaukee and Boston.
Speaking of dominance, we saw for a stretch of time Anthony Davis go on a ridiculous stretch where he was averaging 30 and 12 or something in that neighborhood. He was the first Laker since Shaq to have 30 points and 15 boards in back-to-back games. He was playing great basketball. He's going to be out now for the next month with a foot injury. The Lakers told us that by Thanksgiving, they wait till Thanksgiving to decide to make a move. Thanksgiving is obviously coming and gone. We're coming up on Christmas now. We still haven't heard anything about a move. But of course, as we know, there's one sport that's really active come trade deadline. It is the Lakers. I know we've talked about this a couple times about the Lakers needing to make a move or maybe being one or two pieces away and that they could get those pieces in the trade deadline this season. But what are we to expect from the Lakers over the next month without AD? Because they were playing their best basketball when AD was on that really good stretch and kind of reminding us that he is a top five, like he has the potential to be a top five player in the league, and he is this great offensively and defensively on both sides of the ball. Like, what are we to expect from the Lakers now for this next month when there's no AD? Like, can we still expect the Lakers to be, they were up and down, but be like this team that can kind of on any given night go out there and win a basketball game the way that they were when AD was doing what he was doing?
They still have LeBron, right? LeBron's still healthy. So I think there are certain games, I'm not aware of their schedule, I don't have it in front of me, but the way the league is, there's really only a handful of teams that, I mean, Steph Curry is out, so the Warriors are a little vulnerable. The Knicks just beat up on them. So it's like the league is kind of wide open. It's kind of like where, I mean, except for like and no offense, but your Houstons, your Orlandos, there's only a few teams where it's like a win. It's like not a good win. It's not considered like, okay, that's a really good win. Like if you beat New Orleans, if you beat Toronto, if you beat Oklahoma City, right? If you beat these teams, that's a good win. Indiana, Sacramento, Portland. Right now the way the league is, it's any win is a good win for you. So, I forget where I was going with that, but you asked me about the Lakers.
Yeah.
And they can win some games. Like they might still be able to beat Detroit and beat Toronto or whatever because they have LeBron. Yeah. But the Lakers are, it's just so sad. Like AD was playing, it looked like his best basketball maybe ever, and it sucks because people are like, it's almost like people are waiting for him to get hurt again. It's like it sucks. It's like it's almost inevitable at this point. So the Lakers are, they were struggling even with him. I mean, they were starting to win some games for sure, and yeah, but listen. They need both of their guys. When it's a duo, that's the thing with these duos. With the now we're in the duo era. We moved from the big three era to the duo era. And when you don't have one that's at their A game, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah. I'll be honest, there's not really much to talk about the Mavericks because they're still the same. Although Christian Wood has had a couple great games off the bench so far this season. And Luka's still being Luka. But Bucks and Celtics, I think, my personal opinion, I think, is going to be the game of.
That's a Christmas Day matchup, Bucks Celtics.
Yes, Bucks.
And who is it? Lakers Mavs.
It's Lakers Mavs at 2:30. Bucks Celtics at 5.
Yeah, Luka's gonna go crazy on the. It's in LA. Is it in LA?
I think it's in Dallas. Dallas.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure.
It's even worse.
That could be worse.
Luka's gonna go crazy.
I know. So you kind of talked about it. We all kind of touched on like the Bucks and the Celtics are the creme de la creme in the Eastern Conference. These are the two best teams in the East at this point. We know that, right? These two teams obviously met in the Eastern Conference semis last season, and a lot of people were saying, well, the Celtics only got past the Bucks because there was no Chris Middleton. I want the record to reflect that I was not one of those people at the Celtics winning, even if the Bucks did have Chris Middleton. But that's neither here nor there. This is, I think, going to be, unless barring injuries or unless we get a crazy Cinderella run like we did with the Hawks a couple years ago, this is going to be, I think, the Eastern Conference Finals matchup come when we get there, right? Which team right now would you say is more likely to make it back to the finals? Because both of these teams have made it to the finals in the last two seasons. Obviously, Boston last season and the Bucks in 2021. Which of these two teams this year do you think are better fit or in a better situation to get back to the finals?
It's tough because they both of these teams look like they have the juice, like the championship juice. They both have it. It's really tough. I do feel like when I watch Milwaukee and I look at Giannis and the way he's always aggressive and forceful and all that. But I think that I see in him wanting to get back.
Yep.
And I think he wants another crack at Jason Tatum. Because that's why they lost to Boston, because Tatum got the best of him. I mean, Tatum was the best player, became the best player in that series. That's why they went to the finals. So I think I think I'm a little scared of Giannis. Like I think Giannis is kind of on a little comeback streak. And if he has Chris Middleton healthy, if he has his guys, the way they look. They look ready. They look championship ready. They're deep. They're versatile. People just can't stop Giannis again. He's just back in his like really unstoppable mode. And I think if I had to give someone the edge, I think it would be Milwaukee. But it's like it's really a toss up for me because they both have all the things. They both have size, toughness, versatility, depth, star power, offense, defense. They both have it all. So they're both deserving. And we'll see who's more healthy when we get there.
That's true. I'm inclined to lean Boston. I think just because I think obviously again when you come off the finals appearance they just had last season, they didn't play bad basketball against the Warriors. I think what happened is the Warriors are just the Warriors, and they kind of the Warriors obviously I think. Whether Stephen, Clay, and Draymond and the guys within the Warriors organization want to admit it or not, I think the Warriors had a little bit to prove to the NBA that like they are still a force to be reckoned with, and they are still, championship material when they're all healthy. And I think that was a little bit too much for the Celtics. I don't want to lean on the lack of experience factor because I mean that doesn't really have. I don't think when you look at it, the experience wasn't the issue. The issue was just. The Celtics just had too many bad shooting nights in that series. I think the Celtics are a little bit hungrier just because they're coming off of a finals loss. Whereas the Bucks, like we all know, the Bucks are the Bucks, and the Bucks, as many people acknowledge, like I said earlier, the Bucks, for all we're concerned, really didn't make it back to the finals because Chris Middleton was hurt. That's what a lot of people believe, right? A lot of people think, like I said, Chris Middleton plays in that series against the Bucks or against the Celtics. The Bucks beat the Celtics. I think we all would know that the Bucks would beat the Heat again. And then they go to the finals. Now we get to see Bucks Warriors. So I think that was kind of the mentality. And so for the Bucks, it's not so much about can they prove that they can get back and win it all because they've already gone and they've already won it, right? I think for the Celtics, it is like they're hungrier. They've seen it. I think the Celtics recognize, I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown recognize that like a lot of the struggles that they had in the finals wasn't necessarily because they were outmatched, wasn't because they were outplayed, it wasn't because they weren't the better team, it was because they just lacked the execution when it really, really mattered to get the job done against the Warriors. And so far this season, we've seen that they're ready. Much better and they're ready.
They're ready.
multiple explosions from Jason Tatum so far this season. We've seen a lot of solid games from JB so far this season. Like, this is a basketball team that I would say, if I had to pick, right, if I had to cast my vote right now on who's representing the Eastern Conference come finals, I would put my money on the Celtics going back to the finals this season because they're ready. And they're showing that they're ready. I think the Bucks, and this is just my opinion, I think the Bucks know they're going to be in the playoffs. This is not going to be the only way the Bucks don't make the playoffs is if Giannis gets hurt. And if you're a Bucks fan, knock on all the wood you can after that. But like, the Bucks are going to be in the playoffs, and I think the Bucks only really get up for that. Now that they've got there, they only really get up for those high pressure playoff type basketball games. Giannis is going to be Giannis, right? And Middleton's going to be Middleton, and to a lesser degree, Holiday's going to be Holiday. When we're talking about guys like Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis and the guys on the bench, like, they're really only going to really get up and kind of be at their best and at their peak, and they're going to be 100% ready come playoff time. But the Celtics are just hungry right now, and you can see it every time they step from the floor. And I think that's what's going to give them the edge, not just when it's all said and done. I think the Celtics are going to win on Sunday for that, but it's going to be a great game to watch. And also, you've got two of the top 3 leading MVP candidates in Giannis and Jason Tatum. Like, whoever wins this game, their MVP stock is going to rise, whichever team comes out on top. You've got the Grizzlies and the Warriors, which I think we were all really looking forward to, but Steph's going to be not playing in this game because of the shoulder. So I don't think this game is going to have it'll still be chippy because these are two chippy, aggressive teams, but the game won't kind of have the box office attraction that we kind of thought it would when the game was announced. But Suns and Nuggets, another game that I don't think is going to be as good as a lot of people think it will be. But let's talk about the Phoenix Suns for a second, because there was a video of DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams getting to it on the bench the other day. The Suns have not played consistently good basketball so far this season, like for stretches of time. Obviously, they've won their games, but when they have to play good basketball teams, they haven't really been at their best. Is it safe to say that the Suns' window has closed and that they've already missed their chance to compete for a championship? Or do you think there's still some light at the end of the tunnel for them?
Yeah, no, I think Devin Booker is the light-skinned light for them. You just got to really build around Devin Booker. Chris Paul was great. I mean, getting Chris Paul and obviously having the other pieces that they have, but I mean, giving him Chris Paul as his backcourt mate contributed to them getting to the NBA Finals. I mean, that means something. But Chris Paul's not getting younger, and going forward, if you're going to compete with the likes of any of the best teams in the league, you've got to get Devin Booker some new, fresh, real life running mates, wings and bigs, that are somewhat close to an elite level. Again, I love Mikal Bridges. I think they definitely have some of the foundation for it. But when you talk about, Jason Tatum having a Jaylen Brown, and now Trae Young having a DeJounte Murray, and even DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine having each other, even though apparently I saw they're having issues apparently. But yeah, he needs a I don't want to say better supporting cast, because I think he has a good supporting cast. But for Phoenix, I think you're good. You have Devin Booker is one of the most talented players, young players in the league. So just continue to figure out how to build around him.
So you mentioned young players, and Devin Booker is one of the bright young stars in the league. There are a lot. This is, I would say, for the first, and I always defer to you when I kind of make grand generalizations like this, because you've seen much more basketball than I have, and you've lived through more than just the 10s and the 20s of basketball. You've seen the thousands, and so. But I think it's safe to say that I don't think we've had so much talent, or as much talent as we have right now in the NBA under the age of 25 in a long time, if not like there is a lot of emerging talent, stars, all-star / superstar caliber talent, top 5 in some cases caliber talent under the age of 25 in the NBA today. So what I want to do on the last episode of 2022, maybe this happens sometime again in other forms, is Martin and I are going to draft our own starting lineups and sixth man using players that are under the age of 25 and under. in the NBA. And since Martin's the guest, I'll give Martin the first pick for
Oh
the
wow, wow, that's great. I'm gonna write this down. I gotta see if I'm building a team. I gotta really see it. So, just off the top of my head, from who I know, my first pick is gonna be Jason Tatum.
The pause is not because I'm thinking the pause is because I'm hurt. Okay. I mean, as to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's plenty more fish in the sea, plenty more killers out there.
There's only 2 options for a first pick. It's either going to be him or Luka. So
I mean, that's
Luka with my first pick. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. My next pick is going to be LaMelo Ball.
Okay. Hold on, I need to pull up my.
I need to pull up this list too.
Okay. My second pick. Take Anthony Edwards.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Take Anthony Edwards for my second pick.
All right, I'm taking Zion.
Ooh, good old Zenith. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right, my third pick.
Come on, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come on, man.
Bro. Let's see. I'm gonna take Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes. Not the best choice there, but I'll take Scotty Barnes.
Okay.
I am very high on Scotty Barnes.
I love Scotty Barnes.
Higher than most.
I love Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ja Morant.
Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. I'll take Trae Young.
Okay. I was thinking about Trae. I'm good there. And I will go with Evan Mobley.
Oh.
I love my 5.
That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 5. Yeah, okay. One more pick and then it's 6. Okay. I'll take Paolo.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll take
off the bench. I'm going Tyler Hero.
Off the bench, Tyler Hero makes sense. Reigning Smody. And then off the bench for me, I'll take SGA.
Great pick. Because I wanted to get him too.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I would say, listen, most sane people would not draft Scotty Barnes, but
listen.
I think I'm a lot higher on Scotty than most.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Scotty as a sixth, and I thought SGA. I was between SGA, Ja, and Trey Young for my point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like flipping between, and then when I realized Ja was still up, I'm like, yeah,
yeah, that's a good one. Well, listen, since we're drafting, right? Since we're drafting, I think All-Star voting has either started or it's going to start soon. So just since we're already here, we've pretty much already we've already kind of opened up the drafting Pandora's box here. So we're just gonna go back to back. We're gonna do another one. A way too early All-Star draft. We're just gonna draft All-Stars. Starting 5, 3-man bench, and a coach. And we'll go coach first. And again, I'll concede to my guests because my mom and dad raised me right to always treat my guests with the utmost respect. So I'll give you the first pick at coaching for this one too.
I could pick any coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Take Ty Lue. Cool. Now we're just go starting 5 and then a bench.
Now, are we doing like the traditional? Because like the All-Star format and all that, they the wings and guards. I really, I really don't keep up well. So, are we just doing East-West guards, forwards, guards, and bigs like the traditional way, or what?
Yes, not this random stuff. You got 6 guards and 2 bigs on the team. I mean,
Yeah. I do.
Like the good old All-Star days when I was in middle school, and it was 2 guards, 2 wings, and a big. That's
okay. All right. Okay. So I could draft anyone.
Yep.
For All-Star team, like not East or West, just
as if you and I were the team captains of the All-Star game.
Oh, okay. All right. I have the first pick.
Yeah. Probably be nice.
Durant, your cousin.
Yeah, okay, I'll take LeBron.
Wow. Jason Tatum.
Giannis.
Luka.
Oh, Steph.
Oh, I didn't know we were keeping Steph since he's hurt.
You're right. He is hurt. You're right. I won't take Steph. You're right.
I meant to ask that.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. You're right.
All right, yeah, because
I'll take Kyrie.
Oh. I will take Ja Morant.
Oh, SGA.
I'm taking Joker.
And
This is making me want to play 2K again.
Okay. Then I go Embiid.
Doing reserves. How many? You said 2?
3.
3 reserves.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Jordan Poole.
I'm gonna go Darius Garland.
I'm going Zion.
Mm. Mm. Just because how well he's playing this year, I'm gonna take Larry Markin.
Let's see. Oh, Trae Young.
Mm.
Gotta do it.
I'm taking Anthony Edwards again.
Who?
Anthony Edwards.
Oh, man. Oh.
How tense that guy, man.
Hey, man, you know, you gotta make the right.
Bunch of silence there, man.
You gotta think, man. You gotta think on it. You know? Put together
That was
teams
good.
is
That was good. That was good. We'll definitely do more stuff like that in the future, not just with football or not just with basketball, but with football and other things too. And I'll also make a graphic for these guys and post these on social so you guys can see them and you guys can vote and see which teams are better. Although I have much more confidence in my All-Star team than I do in my. I don't think there's many people on TikTok and Twitter that are gonna think my Scotty Barnes pick was too hot. But that's a hill I'm willing to die on. I think Scotty's very underrated and underrated.
No, he's great.
Before we get out of here, I want to play. Not really a game, but we're just gonna go rapid fire, pretender or contender. I'm gonna give you a team. You'll tell me if you think at this point in the season if they're a pretender or if they're a contender. We'll just kind of go through just a couple teams. Let's start with the Denver Nuggets, pretenders or contenders.
Contenders because Jamal Murray is back. They have Jokic, and the West is wide open.
Excuse me. Okay, let's go Phoenix Suns, pretenders or contenders?
Pretenders. It's pretty much proof is in the pudding right now. I mean, they're kind of following up from how they ended it last year. Like they just don't look ready.
Yeah. Should be a fun one. It always is. Miami Heat, pretenders or contenders this year?
I'll give them contenders because they just fight and they scratch and they claw and they're tough, and I'll give them that, and that will always make them contenders. But I just don't believe in the Miami Heat. I feel like they should have gone all in for Kevin Durant, and I don't think they're up there with Milwaukee and Boston really. And they're running around talking about they're saying they're going to win a championship. I don't see it. I love Bam. I love Jimmy, Tyler Hero. I think they have a pretty good team. I think they're contenders, but I don't think they'll actually get it done.
Cleveland.
I don't want to call them pretenders, but I don't really see them as contenders either. They're kind of in the middle. That one is hard. But if I had to say, it's going to be pretenders. If they're pretending to be contenders, then they're pretenders because I don't see them as full on contenders, not just yet. But I've said they can shock people in the East with the right situations, right matchups. Yeah, watch out.
And I'm lockstep with you on that. The Pelicans.
Pretenders. I haven't seen Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum's been in the playoffs a little bit, but I haven't seen any of their big three, not Zion. None of them have shown that they can dominate a playoff series yet. They certainly haven't done it together yet. Doesn't mean they can't, but I don't see them as contenders yet, so they're pretenders.
Two more. The Clippers, pretenders or contenders?
The Clippers are contenders. They are contenders. They unless they're saying Kawhi is out and done and Paul George is out and done, they are contenders.
And the last one, the Brooklyn Nets.
Pretenders. Pretenders, unfortunately. I feel like KD is going to do all he can. Kyrie looks like he's now ready to do all he can, just basketball wise. But they don't have really the support. Ben Simmons is kind of doing all he can, but it's like that's not enough. And they really could use a third star and a little more like girth on their roster to support them, a little more experience. But I think they're pretenders right now.
First of all, speaking of the Nets, right now, they're playing the Warriors. It's halftime. They're up 91-51.
At halftime?
Yes.
Like I know Seth is out, but that's not.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, look, Brooklyn has been looking like again, Kyrie's been looking really good.
It is.
He is KD, but like
it's 95-59 right now with 8 minutes going to the third. KD has 21 points, 3 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals. O'Neal's got 14. Claxton and Simmons have 10, and Simmons also has 7 assists.
Joe Harris has hit 3 threes. Watanabe's hit 2 threes. They got
Leading
Royce
score,
O'Neal
surprisingly,
hit
leading score for the
threes.
Warriors is the James Wiseman. He's got 17 so far.
That's a good sign.
Yep. And Poole's got 13 as well. But yeah, 95-59 right now. And that's up on the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean Brooklyn needs the right matchups too. Like their whole thing is going to be matchups because they just can't see they can't see Boston until the conference finals. Boston is not they're that's like Apollo Creed for them or they don't want to see them.
It's not a first round matchup again or a second round. They'll be happy if they don't see Boston at all. But the Eastern Conference is going to go through Boston. I think Boston gets the 1 seed. I know they're tied for first right now with they're half a game back out of first right now just because they played one more game than the Bucks. They lost that game. Bucks and Celtics, by the way, the only 2 teams in the league right now without double-digit losses, still hanging on to that single seed. But yeah, Bucks are 22-8. Celtics are 22-9. But yeah, 91 first half points. I remember a couple years ago in that game when Clay broke the record for most threes in a single game. The Warriors were up big on they had like 80 something points in the first half against the Bulls. I don't think I've ever seen 91 points in the first
91. Half. Yeah, that might be some kind of record. I'm sure it's on Twitter by now.
Yeah, 100%. So they're playing outstanding basketball. Oh, it is. I know a lot of you guys probably think I just kind of say these things to make these people want to come back on the show and just like to pander. I genuinely enjoy talking to Martin Soaries about basketball on camera, off camera, in Instagram DMs. I thoroughly enjoy talking basketball with Martin. I figured if there was a time to maybe debut a little fun little segment to do, Martin would be the person to do it because he makes me think. Had to do a lot of thinking today. And like I said, you guys will see more drafts like that as well, I guess next year because this is the end of the year for us here at Go Talk with Marcus. I appreciate you, of course, for coming on, and it is truly always a pleasure. Please, as always, let everybody know where they can find you in the Basketball Society and all your stuff.
Yes, check out the Basketball Society YouTube channel. Just type in Basketball Society on YouTube. You'll see the podcast, video breakdowns, all kinds of stuff, and follow on Instagram at Basketball Society _.
He does breakdowns at least every other night, just depending on what happens. They're great. And I'll be honest, it's one thing to like sit down and watch a basketball game and see something and see someone go off for 53 or whatever it is. It's another thing to watch someone go off for 50 points and just break it down and explain it the way they do. And also, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it's funny. Like because Martin's so into basketball that sometimes you don't get words. You get sounds of appreciation and shock depending on depending on what just happened. It's the best 20 minutes of my day usually.
It's awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can tell. I have a lot of fun watching it. I'm sure you have even more fun breaking them down. As I said at the top of the show, it's been a great 2022. At the time of this recording, though, I do have one more request before we go. At the time of this recording, we have 137 subscribers. You guys remember at the beginning of the year, the goal was to hit 150. We are 13 subscribers away. If you are listening and you are not subscribed, or if you know someone that listens that is not subscribed, please tell them to subscribe to the channel so that we can hit our goal of 150 by the end of the year. It's been great. Obviously, we started the year. We were in season 1. We are obviously now in season 2. This episode 84 of season 2. I believe this is episode 218 or 19 overall. When the new year comes around, we'll be full on into getting ready for the playoffs for football and getting all that stuff done. Hopefully, we'll have a pretty solid show for you first episode back of the new year. So for my guy Martin of the Basketball Society, you guys have a happy and safe holidays. You guys have a happy and even safer New Year's. And the next time you see me or hear me, depending on how you consume the content, will be 2023. So happy holidays and a happy New Year to all of you guys from Marcus of Go Talk Marcus. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, you guys enjoy the rest of your lives.